21 of the fantasy baseball season. And here's a few hitters I look to add this week. The first guy's Patrick Wisdom of the Chicago Cubs. So Wisdom here, he's come out of nowhere this season, is this rookie. And obviously the Cubs, they gutted their roster at the Major League Baseball trade deadline last month. And this guy's got an everyday opportunity pretty much. And he's made the most of it on the season. 25 home runs, 50 RBIs, 46 runs scored, 3 stolen bases, a 256 average, and a 320 on base. But right now, he's got those 25 homers, only in 254 at-bats on the year. In the last couple weeks here for Wisdom, 7 homers, 13 RBIs, 10 runs scored, a 238 average, and a 304 on base. So right here, he's got a lot of versatility in fantasy baseball, qualifying at first, third, and outfield. And right now, he's like a true power hitter, very high strikeout rate, but a big power number as well that he's putting up this season here is Wisdom. The last few games for him, August 21st versus the Royals, 1 for 4, a homer and 2 RBIs. August 22nd versus the Royals, 1 for 4. August 23rd versus the Rockies, 1 for 3 with a run. August 25th versus the Rockies in a doubleheader, 1 for 7 with a homer, 3 RBIs, and 3 runs scored. August 27th at the White Sox, 2 for 4, 2 homers, 4 RBIs, 3 runs scored. And August 28th at the White Sox, 2 for 4 with 2 homers, 2 RBIs. And August 29th at the White Sox, 0 for 3. So right here, the power's legit, in my opinion. And like I said, he's a classic power hitter, high strikeout rate, low batting average in the 230s, 240s, but he's getting the job done right now for the Cubs, even though they're rebuilding. And this is what they want to see, young guys come up and emerge for this team. And that's what he's doing, is Wisdom. And right now, he's available in 50% of fantasy leagues. So if you need some power and some RBIs, he's definitely a guy to go get. And his versatility is great as well. The next hit is his teammate, Ian Happ of the Chicago Cubs. So Ian Happ, he was a top prospect seasons ago, but it just hasn't panned out really the way he wanted to in his career here is Happ so far, the first 3-4 seasons of his career. This year, another horrible year for the most part. 16 home runs, 41 RBIs, 42 runs scored, an awful 199 batting average, and a 299 on base. But the last couple weeks here, the tides have turned here for Ian Happ. 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, 7 runs scored, a stolen base, a 385 batting average, and a 429 on base. So obviously he's not going to keep up those numbers at that high rate, because we know Happ what he is, a low batting average guy who's going to pop the ball 25, 30 times if he gets the chances on the season. But right now he's red hot, no doubt about it. August 22nd versus the Royals, 1 for 3 with an RBI. August 23rd versus the Rockies, 3 for 3 with a run. August 25th versus the Rockies, 2 for 6, a homer, 3 RBIs, a stolen base. August 27th at the White Sox, 2 for 5, a homer, 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored. August 28th at the White Sox, 1 for 4. And August 29th at the White Sox, 0 for 4. So right here, Ian Happ, he's hitting the baseball well. He's got a few multiple hit games in the last 3 out of 5 games. And he's playing good baseball, and he's another guy getting an everyday opportunity with all these trades, obviously, from the Cubs making at the deadline. And he's got good versatility as well at second, third, and outfield. So Happ, he's available right now in 48% of fantasy leagues, and I would give him an ad this week. The next guy's Keybin Ruiz of the Washington Nationals. So Ruiz, the prize prospect in that deal, sending Max Scherzer and Trey Turner to the Los Angeles Dodgers, and Ruiz and Joshua Gray, the 2 big headline blue chip prospects in that deal here. So Ruiz, he coming up here for the Washington Nationals today here. He's going to make his debut as an ad, because he was up this season early in the year, and he went 1 for 7 with a homer and an RBI, so not a bad way to get your first hit of your major league career with a home run. But right now, he's going to play every day here for Washington. They cleared the decks for him to come up and make an impact. Obviously, they traded Yan Gomes as well to the Oakland Athletics at the deadline. And Adams, he's been catching decently, but right now it's the time to see these kids over here in Washington. And this guy, he's a blue chipper. He's one of the top catching, if not the top catching prospects in all of Major League Baseball. And we're going to see what the kid got right now. Right now, a lot of hype around him coming up, and it makes sense here because you traded your 2 top players, arguably, was Washington. So right now, the National fans, they want to see what this kid could do. And I think he could be valuable for fantasy owners, especially at a weak catching position this season. And right now, Ruiz, he's available in 85% of fantasy leagues. So if you need a catcher, I would give Ruiz a chance here and see what he could do with his new ball club and see if he lives up to the hype in the next month before the season ends. The next hit is Nicky Lopez of the Kansas City Royals. So Lopez, he was a recommended ad last week, and he's back on the list this week, is Lopez, because he's still available in 58% of fantasy leagues. On the season for Lopez, 1 home run, 34 RBIs, 18 stolen bases, 55 runs scored, a 292 average, and a 361 on base percentage. In the last couple weeks here, he's been steaming hot. 1 home run, 6 RBIs, 8 stolen bases, 10 runs scored, a 418 average, and a 475 on base. So obviously those numbers, they're not going to stick the rest of the way. But Lopez here, he's getting an everyday opportunity. He's got some versatility as well, playing second and shortstop for this Royal team. And we know Mondesi, he's not going to come back most likely this season. And if he does, I still don't think they're going to play him every day. And I don't think it's going to impact Lopez at all. So the last few games here for Lopez, August 23rd at Houston, 1 for 5. August 24th at Houston, 1 for 4. August 25th at Houston, 0 for 4. August 26th at the Mariners, 1 for 3 with a run and an RBI. August 27th at Seattle, 3 for 6, a run and a rib. August 28th at Seattle, 3 for 4 with a run. And August 29th at Seattle, 3 for 4 with a run. So the last 3 games here, he's had 3 hits in each game, is Lopez. So he's on fire, like I mentioned. And this guy's got versatility in the middle infield. And he's a player here that's going to help you in stolen bases. He's going to help you in runs and batting average. And sometimes those categories and things are overlooked for hitters in fantasy baseball. But right here, Nicky Lopez, he provides that. And he's definitely a good ad this week. The next hit is Connor Joe of the Colorado Rockies. So Connor Joe, he's bounced around the major leagues, especially the minor leagues throughout his career the last few years here. But Joe on the season, 8 home runs, 34 RBIs, 20 runs scored, a 279 average, and a 365 on base. In the last couple weeks here, he's playing every day for this Rocky team. 2 home runs, 10 RBIs, 9 runs scored, 262 average, and a 389 on base. I know the numbers aren't amazing and eye-popping here, but he's a guy getting an everyday opportunity. He's playing in Coors Field, and he's producing pretty well, in my opinion, and he qualifies at first and outfield also. So if you need one of those positions, I don't think Joe's one of the worst ads this week. And he's available as well in 74% of fantasy leagues. So the last few games here for Joe, August 22nd versus the Diamondbacks, 1 for 2 with 2 runs and a rib. August 23rd at the Cubs, 2 for 3, a run and an RBI. August 25th at the Cubs, 2 for 7, a homer, 4 RBIs and 2 runs scored. August 27th at the Dodgers, 1 for 3 with a run. August 28th at the Dodgers, 0 for 3 with an RBI. And August 29th at the Dodgers, 0 for 5. So right here, he's a middle of the pack ad this week, like I mentioned. But this guy can provide some RBIs. He showed some power this season. And right now, I would give him an ad. He's getting an everyday opportunity. And he plays, obviously, in an amazing hitter's ballpark like Coors Field. The next hit I looked at this week, Jorge Solaire of the Atlanta Braves. So Solaire, he's turned things around for the most part here since he got traded from the Royals to the ATL this season. And on the season for Solaire, 20 home runs, 52 RBIs, 54 runs scored, a 213 average, and a 314 on base. So that 213 is a pretty good number for Solaire, considering he was hitting 198 most of the season this year. And we know he's a good power hitter. He's got 20 on the season. But the last couple weeks here, he's been on fire. 4 home runs, 9 RBIs, 8 runs scored, an amazing 341 average, and a 440 on base here for Solaire. So he's fitting this Brave team well, and he's been a good replacement in the power department for missing a guy like Ronald Acuna. And right now, this Brave team, they've really taken off in the last month here since the trade deadline. And Solaire's definitely been a big part of it this year. August 22nd in Baltimore, 2 for 4, a homer and an RBI. August 23rd versus the Yankees, 1 for 3. August 24th versus the Yankees, 0 for 3 with an RBI. August 27th versus the Giants, 3 for 4, a homer, 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored. August 28th versus the Giants, 1 for 4. And August 29th versus the Giants, 2 for 4, a homer, an RBI, and 2 runs scored. So right here, Solaire, he's only available in 41% of leagues. And right now, you got to be a little cautious with him. He's not going to hit for this high average the remainder of the season like he is right now over the last couple weeks in the 340s. But he's definitely going to hit home runs. He's definitely going to drive in runs. And if you need those categories, he's definitely worth an ad this week. He fits well, like I mentioned, in this Brave lineup. And he definitely can help fantasy owners, in my opinion. The next hit is Brandon Marsh of the Los Angeles Angels. So right here, Brandon Marsh, he's been a surprise guy over the last few weeks here for the Angels. And it's another lost season here for the Angels. They're going to see what these young guys can do for this team. So Marsh, on the season, 1 home run, 13 RBIs, 14 runs scored, 3 stolen bases, 279 average, and a 350 on base. Only 130 at-bats, though, on the season. And the last couple weeks here, he's one of the best hitters in all of fantasy baseball in the time. 1 home run, 11 RBIs, 6 runs scored, a scorching 419 average, and a 468 on base. So right here, he's been a hit machine, is Brandon Marsh, including a couple 3-hit games, a 4-hit game as well in the last couple weeks here. So August 21st at Cleveland, 1 for 3. August 22nd at Cleveland, 0 for 2. August 24th at the Baltimore Orioles, 4 for 6, 2 runs, 2 RBIs. August 23rd at Baltimore, 3 for 4, a homer, 5 RBIs. August 26th at Baltimore, 0 for 3. August 27th versus the Padres, 1 for 2. And August 28th versus the Padres, 3 for 4 with a run. So right here, Marsh, he's going out there, driving in runs, and he's hitting the ball all over the field with a high batting average as well. So right now, if you need some batting average or an outfielder or utility hitter, I think Marsh is a pretty good ad this week, and he's available in 88% of fantasy leagues. And like I mentioned, he's going to get an opportunity every day with all the injuries and another lost season over there in Los Angeles. They got to start looking to the future, because right now, a lot of their big signings just haven't panned out this season. Obviously, we know Mike Trout's a stud, but he's been out pretty much the whole year. And Anthony Rendon so far in the first 2 years of his contract with this team, he just hasn't been up to standard like he was in Washington. So I would give Marsh an ad this week. The next hit is Jorge Alfaro of the Miami Marlins. So Alfaro, we know he qualifies as a catcher, but he's been more of a corner outfielder this season with the Marlins. And on the season, 4 home runs, 29 RBIs, 8 stolen bases, 20 runs scored, a 248 average, and a 286 on base percentage here for Alfaro. So Alfaro, we know he could go out there. We've seen some power throughout his career as well. And for him to qualify a catcher while he's playing the outfield pretty much every day is a big thing, in my opinion, in fantasy baseball, especially like I mentioned early in the video. Catcher's been a weak position for years now in fantasy baseball. On the season and in the last couple weeks here for Alfaro, 1 home run, 11 RBIs, 3 runs scored, a stolen base, a 310 average, and a 310 on base. So the only down thing for me here with Alfaro in the last couple weeks, his on base and average is the same thing. So he's not drawing walks. He's a free swing early in counts. And right now, that's why maybe the batting average might not stay this high over the next couple weeks as it goes down, because he's just a free swinger, like I mentioned, and he's not working counts. But anyway, the last few games for Alfaro, August 24th versus the Nationals, 1 for 4 with a run. August 25th versus the Nationals, 2 for 5, 2 RBIs. August 26th versus the Nats, 2 for 4, a homer, 3 RBIs. August 27th versus the Reds, 1 for 4. August 28th versus the Reds, 2 for 4, 3 RBIs and a run. And August 29th versus the Reds, 1 for 3. So right now, he's getting hits as Alfaro. He's driving the ball a little for power, and he's driving runs in. So right now, he's available in 89% of fantasy leagues. And I think he's a definite ad this week, especially qualifying a catcher and outfield. The next hitter I looked at is Andy Ibanez, Rangers. So Ibanez, he's been a pretty good player the last couple weeks here for the Rangers. But the only thing with him now, he's got a little bit of a hamstring injury, and he qualifies at first, second, and third base. So if he comes back and he's 100% almost to play, he's definitely a guy who would give an ad on the season. 6 home runs, 19 RBIs, 21 runs scored, a 260 average, and a 304 on base. But the last couple weeks here for Ibanez, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, and 6 runs scored with a 476 average and a 511 on base. So right now, this guy's been the real deal hitting the baseball. But we haven't seen him play now yesterday because of the injury, like I mentioned, to his hamstring. So obviously, if he don't go on the injured list, he's an ad, and he's available right now in 93% of fantasy leagues. So the last few games for Ibanez, August 21st at Boston, 3 for 4 with a run and 2 RBIs. August 23rd at Boston, 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. August 24th at Cleveland, 3 for 5. August 25th at Cleveland, 2 for 3 with a run. August 26th at Cleveland, 2 for 5 with a run. August 27th versus Houston, 2 for 5, a homer, an RBI, and a run. And August 28th versus Houston, 0 for 2. So Ibanez, like I mentioned, he had 3 games in a row with multiple hit games is Ibanez. And right here, this guy hits for average. He qualifies all over the infield. And like I mentioned, if he's not injured severely, he's definitely worth an ad this week. And the final hitter I looked at this week's Anthony Santander of the Baltimore Orioles. So Santander, it's been an up and down season for the power hitter in Baltimore. 14 home runs, 39 RBIs, a stolen base, 39 runs scored, a 249 average, and a 294 on base percentage. And the last couple weeks for him, 4 homers, 6 RBIs, 8 runs scored, a 256 average, and a 273 on base percentage. So right here, we know he's got 30 home run potential. But obviously, he's not going to reach that this season here, is Santander. But the last couple weeks and month, he's picked things up, especially hitting for home runs. He's got 8 homers in the last month, which is a good solid number. And right now, he's healthy. He was on the injured list early in the year, and he's driving the baseball. So the last few games for Santander, August 24th versus the Angels, 4 for 5, a homer, 3 RBIs, 3 runs scored. August 25th versus the Angels, 3 for 4, a homer, RBI, 3 runs scored. August 26th versus the Angels, 0 for 5. August 27th versus Tampa, 1 for 3. August 28th versus Tampa, 0 for 4. And August 29th versus Tampa, 0 for 1 in a pinch hit appearance. So right now, if you need some power, you need some RBIs, I don't think Santander's a bad ad, and he's available in 56% of fantasy leagues. So that's a few hitters I'd look to add this week in week 21 of the fantasy baseball season.